Hi, my name is Karen. I'm one of the educators here at Montavilla Sewing Center. We're going to take a look at the Baby Lock Joy. So to get familiar with the machine, we're going to talk about the parts of the machine first. Here we have the plug, which has a plug for both the power cord and the foot control, all in one plug. Up here we have the hand wheel. The hand wheel turns towards you. If you were watching somebody sewing and you're watching here, you would see the hand wheel moving in a counterclockwise direction. Here we have the bobbin winder spindle and the stopper. Here's the spool pin. Now, when your machine is new, this spool pin is not on here, so take it out of your accessory bag and put it on just like that. This is where you put your spool of thread. This is a spool holder, keeps the spool from sliding off. Here we have a thread guide for threading. This is a thread guide for winding your bobbin. For when you wind your bobbin, you can use both of these, and it has a little picture up here that shows you that. Here we have the control knobs, width, length, and the stitch selector. The stitch selector has letters on it which correspond to these letters right here. Here's your reverse lever here. So when you push this down, the fabric will go in the opposite direction. That way you can sew a little back stitch at the beginning and at the ending of your seam to keep the seam from coming apart. Then you have your thread tension disc here. Normally you just leave it right there at 4. Between 5 and 3 is your normal stitch tension. And then you've got thread guides here. I'll show you a little bit more about threading guides when we get into threading. Here you have the real business end of your machine, which is your needle. And this is the part that's going to go up and down and form your stitches. It's held by a needle clamp and needle clamp screw right there. You have another thread guide right here, and that's going to help hold the thread right next to the needle so that you can get a good stitch. We also have this wonderful feature on this machine, a needle threader, which is going to help you immensely to thread your needle. Then we have the presser foot. The presser foot presses the fabric down on the feed dogs, which are down below here, and that helps feed your fabric along as you're sewing. This is a quick change presser foot, which means you have this little knob back here that you push this forward and the presser foot just drops right off. To put it back on, put that under there, lower your presser foot lever, and it comes right back on. This is your presser foot lever. It's on the inside right here. You can push it up a little bit higher if you need to get a little bit extra room if you need to. This part is called the needle plate. As you're sewing, the needle's going to go down through the needle plate and come back up again. It has numbers and lines on it, which is going to be useful for sewing an even distance from the edge of your fabric to your seam line. So you'd run the edge of your fabric, just guide it right along there as it's sewing. It's going to give you a nice seam allowance. Here we have this little latch for lifting off the cover of your bobbin. And this, of course, is your bobbin. Now, we don't have any thread on this yet, but that's how we put it in like that, put this little cover right back on here. Another thing that this machine has as a feature, if you take off your accessory tray, which normally wouldn't have accessories in here, but you could if you wanted to. Here you have what's called a free arm, which is really handy for if you're hemming pants. You can put that pant leg right around there and stitch right around the pant leg. But for normal sewing, we want to have a little extra support, so putting the accessory tray on there is going to be helpful. Another thing that's really neat about this machine is we have a thread cutter right here. So instead of cutting your thread all the time with your scissors, you can just take and cut your thread this way. After you're done sewing, there's a little thread cutter right here. And I think we've just about covered all the different parts of the machine. There's a handle up here. I think that's it.